Hey guys, it's me, it's QueenAusetHeru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to anybody and everybody who might want to see this video. Please drop us a positive comment in the comment section. And let me see, if you would like to get a reading done, please email me or hit me up on social media. If you'd like to become a patron on Patreon, if you would like to, let me see. Oh, if you want to send me a gift from my Amazon wish list, any of the above is underneath this video. Let's check it out. All right, guys, let's see. Oh, by the way, happy Halloween. I am doing this on Halloween. It is not Halloween when you're actually going to see it, though. But I thought it would be cool because we all believe in the community, different communities, I should say, that during Halloween, the veil is the thinnest. That means that the separation between the spirit world and our world is the thinnest during this time. So many traditions will honor the ancestors today and do all kinds of other stuff too. But there's a lot of ancestral respect going on today. When we're finished with this, I'm going to go in the other room and light a candle and pray and thank my ancestors for their guidance. And different people will do, different types of rituals or things along those lines. So I thought it would be fun to do messages from the ancestors today, since the veil is so thin. So I asked the ancestors to give us a message. Now, message number 1 right here is by our pink amethyst. Message number 2 is here by our selenite. And message number 3 is here by our spirit quartz. So please take your time and take a look. Today we are using my brand new Sufi Tarot. Brand new. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the interpretation from the guidebook and, of course, add in anything that I feel needs to be added. So please take a second and decide which is yours. 1, 2, or 3. And now I'm going to read them. So number 1, let's see what you guys got. Oh, number 1, you got one of my favorite. This is one of my favorite cards in this entire deck. It's not generally my favorite. This is traditionally the Hanged Man. I'm sorry, it's shaking a little bit. I got it on this tripod thing. So the Hanged Man isn't traditionally one of my favorite cards, but in this deck it is. I love the way that they depicted it. I love the raindrops going down. This is awesome. So for those of you who got number 1, here is your message from your ancestors. It came up in the upright. So it says, it's time for suspending old beliefs, surrender, breaking patterns, independence from the flock, and spiritual growth. So as you can see, he's not fighting his situation. He's pretty much surrendered and has kind of like relaxed into it. So I'm going to read you what it says with this one. The Hanged Man in traditional tarot is one of the most perplexing cards of the deck. That is, until we realize it signifies more than mere physical suspension. The word taslim, I don't know if I said that right, refers not to the outward state of hanging upside down, but to the inner state fostered through this spiritual exercise that Sufis have long partaken in their, it looks like Chila Khanas, learning, surrender, and suspending judgments and preconceived notions. This position, along with that of prostration through prayer, is one of the few times that our hearts are physically elevated above our heads, signifying a precedence given to limitless heart knowledge rather than the limited mind. The Hanged Man that we see has sacrificed his physical comfort for spiritual growth. I like that a lot. He has temporarily disconnected from the world and removed the sensory overload of the outer senses to sharpen his inner senses. When this card appears for you, you are being asked to examine any old, calcified beliefs you may have. Do you judge yourself and or others in a way that is imprisoning your soul? Whoo, number one. That is a explosive question. Whew. The Hangman asks you to create inner peace by connecting to the wisdom that comes from discipline and surrender. You are not being asked to suspend yourself physically, but to create a space in your being that will allow you to be rather than do. This card points you toward retreat, meditation, and mindfulness so that you may accept yourself and widen your perspective when looking at other circumstances. This may be a good time to suspend any immediate action. Instead, take time to reflect, release rigid ideas, and let go of control. That is beautiful. That is really awesome. Now, here is some contemplation. So, if this is your card, write down these questions and journal them if you want to. It would be an awesome idea. Contemplation number 1. What fixed beliefs am I grasping on too tightly? Number 2. Who and what do I judge that disturbs my peace? Awesome. And you also have an affirmation for those of you who like working with affirmations like I do. Your affirmation says, as I surrender to the present, I know that I am taken care of. Well, I don't have anything to add. They said everything about this card that I would have said. I mean, they covered it beautifully. So if you're number 1 and this is your card, I strongly suggest that you follow the wisdom and the advice. Hopefully do those contemplations and work with that affirmation. Beautiful card, beautiful message. Awesome. Number 2, let's get you going. Number 2, your card came up in the reversed. First and foremost, so we got to put it around so you can actually see the picture. It's what we would call the 10 of Swords reversed, okay? So I'm going to tell you what that means. In the reversal, 10 means survival, escaping ruin, learning from past hardships, closing a tough chapter in your life. So number 2, you might have been through some things, but the ancestors are saying in this one that apparently you survived. You're going to learn. Hopefully, you're going to learn from those past mistakes, and you're going to move on to a new chapter. So whatever you've been going through or have going through, you should be coming out of and going hopefully into better times. The 10 of Swords is the card of ruin. The woman in our card sits devastated in front of burning tents. She has lost it all. There is a deep pain in the core of her being. We are told that it is darkest before the dawn. It is darkness that surrounds her heart. Will her breakdown lead to a breakthrough? Or will she choose to remain trapped in her anguish? The mystics tell us that pain is inevitable, but suffering is unnecessary. Will she be able to feel her pain, then slowly start to move through it? When this card appears for you, you are being pointed to the meaning found within the following lines by Rumi. Oh, I love Rumi. My favorite poet. Rumi and then Hafiz. My favorites. If you don't know their work, learn it. Look it up. Read about it. Look at their little quotes if you want to. If you're into poetry, that is. At least experience it because I love Rumi. So right now we're going to read one of Rumi's quotes. A man was breaking up the soil when another man came by. Why are you ruining this land? The first man responded, don't be a fool. Nothing can grow until the ground is turned over and crumbled. There can be no roses and no orchard without first this that looks devastating. You must lance an ulcer to heal it. You must tear down parts of an old building to restore it. And so it is with a sensual life that has no spirit in it. Wow. Whew. So what you went through is very necessary to be able to grow. What is being destroyed in your life that you need to accept? What opportunities to evolve do you see in this situation? Well, those are 2 questions you can use for your journal. Then they give us 2 more. When something ends, something new is born. What is it for me? When has my suffering led to acceptance and, in turn, growth? So if I were you, number 2, I would work on those 4 questions. Those can help you get to where you need to go to, at least mentally, that is. And here's your affirmation, number 2. I love myself through all situations. So number 2, because your card was reversed, you really should be, coming to a better space. If it was in an upright, I would think that the person was just totally broken, and, just, trying to get past it. But in the reversal, you should already be going in a better direction. So if you're not already going in a better direction, it's time for you to take a look at what you might be able to do to change that. So work on those questions and hopefully the answers will come. All right, number 2. I'll put this here. Number 3. All right, 3. Ooh, look at that 3. I'm going to show it to you because it's all the way over there. Isn't that pretty? Look at Grandpa. Pretty. He looks like Chadwick Boseman. Maybe I just miss him. But the gentleman to the left reminds me so much of Chadwick. Let me put this in. There we go. Yeah, him to the left. He reminds me of Chadwick. Rest in peace, Black Panther. You will always be the king. All right, guys, let's see what number 3 has. Number 3, yours came up in the upright. So this stands for wealth, family, multiple generations, security, community building, inner and outer abundance, and happiness. The 10 of coins represents absolute personal security. On one level, it alludes to outer affluence. On another level, to the wealth that comes from being with one's inner circle, community, and family. It speaks to the importance of fellowship and friendship, the richness we gain by interacting with different generations. The Sufis talk about the importance of living in spiritual friendship with others, of being nurtured and healed by communities of kindred souls, of making our hearts the tent of Abraham, so that we may welcome and honor each being. There is a Sufi saying that friendship is honoring each other because God has already honored us. When this card appears for you, you are being asked to allow yourself to be healed and nourished by community. Group dynamics can be challenging for some. The Sufis talk about the importance of Husn Izan, thinking well of one another and striving to see the divine in each other. What does that mean for you? What triggers or blockages come up when you think of doing so? Opening our minds and hearts to different perspectives is the first step in awakening compassion and loving kindness within us. For the Sufis, honoring the horizontal dimension that connects us to others is as important as honoring the vertical dimension, our connection to the divine. How do you balance the 2 relationships? All right, number 3, here are your questions for contemplation. When I think of wealth, what comes to mind? What place do community, family, and friendship have in my life? Affirmation. I embrace and balance inner and outer wealth. So number 3, if you got this, okay, so yeah, definitely security, abundance, happiness. Those could be themes that are going to be going on for you and should be doing pretty good, or you should be working on them at the very least. But remember the part about community, because whenever cards like this come up, I remember that everybody doesn't have community. So this card really is telling you the healing of community. So that's going to your community. Your family, whoever that may be. And it doesn't have to be blood family. It could be the adopted people who took you in, or friends, or a support system that you've made, or a community organization, or maybe you need to create or find a community. If you're sitting there thinking, I don't have a community, yeah, that could be you. Maybe you want to go online and, join a Facebook group. That's a small community right there. So whatever the case is, if you have a community, look at how you can engage and enjoy them. If you're unsatisfactory or have blockages with your community, maybe you're another person who needs to find a new community. If you have a beautiful community, then you and your beautiful community should be enjoying each other. Let me see. It is time too, because Thanksgiving is coming up and Christmas and New Year's. It's around the time when people do start to gather and spend time. So if you don't have that, obviously, like I said before, it would be really nice for you to create it. Everybody's not going to have a huge family like on Soul Food. Everybody's not going to look like that. Everybody's not the Waldens. Everybody's not going to have one of these picturesque families. But something, when I was living in Philadelphia, every Thanksgiving there was an organization that would do Thanksgiving dinner for people who had nowhere to go. This particular organization was for lesbians, gays, bisexuals, transgender, people who have been basically excluded or tossed out of their families because of their sexuality. It often happens, unfortunately. So this organization would do a huge Thanksgiving and invite everybody. Everybody bought things. I think I never went to it before, because I did. Luckily, my family didn't disown me. So luckily, I did have some place. But every year they invited me and let me know if I didn't have a community, that they were there for me. So I feel like if you got this card, number 3, that could be something that could speak to you. Maybe you need to find community or create community for someone else. Okay? All right, guys, these are our messages from the ancestors. So you come back soon, because I got a lot more to say. See you later.